Alright, I'm going to give you a quick update on the LP640 Replica project I'm working on. These are the wheels that'll be going on it. Those just came in today. I got to get my tires mounted, and then we can start doing our mock-ups with the wheels that'll end up being on the car when it's all finished. The car will be white when it's all done, white with the matte black wheels. Let me know what you guys think of the wheel choice I went with. I mentioned that I was going to talk about the doors, make sure anyone who's having problems building their doors kind of has an idea of how we do it. Here's what we got going on for the doors so far. We've got our latch mounted on a piece of steel that's tied into the framework of the door. It's very important that you have good steel framework built, and you're going to want to bond it to the fiberglass of the door panels. That steel framework is what gives your door stability. That's going to be tied into your hinge, and your hinge is going to be tied into some heavy-duty steel that's built into the chassis of the car. And that combination of heavy-duty hinges and good steel framework in the doors, everything's going to work together to give you a nice stable door that's not wobbly or floppy, and that works properly. These are the Mercedes latches. That's what normally is used. There's a striker for it. It's also from a Mercedes. And the door right now, we've got the hinge put together. Can't really see much from here, but I'll show you what we're using for hinges. Most of it's fabricated ourselves, but there are some parts that you can acquire that'll make it easier and make the hinge very, very stable and secure. And this is just some clamps holding the hinge to the steel framework. Ultimately, that'll be welded together once we get everything lined up the way we want it. We'll weld that piece of half-inch steel that comes in from the hinge. It'll get welded into the framework of the door, and then we'll have our permanent hinging door. And then as the door comes down, you want it to be lined up, and again, you want it to be as stable as possible, so every time the door closes, it lands in the same place, and it latches every time. Once we get the gas strut in there, then the door will open by itself on the door popper. Once we get the poppers installed, there'll be a remote. You push a button, and the door should pop right open. And then when you close it, pull down, and it should latch every time if everything is built the way it's supposed to be. So there's kind of the early stage of the door framework. If you have any questions, just email me, and I'll try to address them on my videos. And then we can help you through any problems that you're having with building. Alright, the hinge of the door is one of the most important parts of building Lambo doors and having them function correctly and not wobble or move around. This is what we use. We've got industrial roller bearing fixtures, and what they are is they're cast iron casings with little roller ball bearings in them that allow this to roll. This is a much more elaborate hinge mechanism than most builders use, but I'm a firm believer that a stable, strong hinge is critical. And then what we do is we take our flat steel, bend it to the right shape. That gets welded to that steel bar, which creates our rolling hinge. These bolt up to the steel underneath the car, and basically this hangs down in the wheel well as your hinge. and then this rolls on the bar, and when bolted in place, there's no play whatsoever in this bar. There's no movement, there's no wobbling. It's solid because it's rolling on ball bearings in there. This is completely tight and it rolls on the roller bearings. So that's kind of what it looks like right there. And again, there's no movement and no play whatsoever in that hinge. It's on ball bearings, it rolls within the bearing, so there's no slack whatsoever for that hinge to move. So this is basically what your hinge is made up of. You've got the two roller bearings, a steel rod that goes in between them, and then you got your steel flat stock that goes into your door. You can see up underneath here how it looks. We've got our roller bearings there, our steel rod, and then our hinge, which comes through the fender, and the door is hinged by the roller bearings. So again, the goal is to have a door that doesn't wobble, doesn't shake, doesn't move side to side on the way up and down, and that's how you do it. You got to have good steel framework in the door, good steel framework across the car to mount your hinges on, and you got to have a really, really good hinge. Those three things will get you doors that work properly. Sounds easy, but sometimes you got to redo things 10 times to get everything to line up. But to have the right idea and the right concept from the start is so important. I've seen builders mount hinges, mount latches, strikers directly on the fiberglass with no steel framework whatsoever. Same thing when you get your gas strut installed. Your gas strut is going to attach to that steel bar right there, and there's also going to be steel connected to it underneath that will that the strut will mount on. Right now we've got steel, a good size 1x4 steel plank going underneath the door jamb, and we're going to continue that up here, and then the gas strut will mount on that steel. That way you're not mounting anything directly onto fiberglass. Again, I've seen people mount the latches. You know, you can bolt them right into the fiberglass of the door, but if you don't have it tied into your steel, every time you close the door, the latch is going to be, you know, taking the brunt of the impact, and it'll start jarring loose, you know, in the fiberglass. Eventually then it'll be loose and it won't latch correctly. So take the time to build your steel framework, tie it all together, bond it to the fiberglass of the door, and just tie everything together. Steel framework is the key to making things work correctly and stay where they're supposed to be. Because fiberglass does expand and contract, it moves, it warps, so your steel is what's going to give you your structure. And that's the case with the doors, the body, your trunk and hood. Everything needs to have steel framework associated with it, and anything that you're mounting should mount into the steel and not just be screwed in or bolted into your fiberglass panels. So that's your first lesson on building the Lambo doors. Let me know if you have any questions.